In this video, I want to give you 3 quick tips that are going to help you improve as a cinematographer. Let's talk about it. Now, to jump right into it, tip number 1 is going to be shoot and log. Now, I know it might be cliche, I know everybody might already tell you that, but it's true. Not only do you get more information when color grading your footage, but it gives you the creative freedom to color grade it however you want when you shoot in log. If you're shooting on a Sony camera, shoot in S-Log. If you're shooting on Canon, shoot in C-Log. If you're shooting on Blackmagic, shoot in B-Raw. If you're shooting on a Red, shoot in Red Raw. You get the point. Shoot in RAW. When shooting in RAW, not only do you have the creative freedom to color grade however you want, but in my opinion, it is like the most funnest part in the post-production process because you're given full control to color the image however you want to color it. Now, if you don't shoot in log footage, when you do go to color grading, if you have a vision in your head on how you want the colors to come out, you're not going to be able to critique it the way that you want it to because you don't have all that information. You're only given limited information. And for me personally, I love to be in full, complete control when it comes to post-production. Now, the reason why I say shooting in log will help you become a better videographer is for the simple fact that it causes you to really use your brain. It causes you to really get creative in post-production. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to be a full-on colorist because there's a lot to color grading that I still do not know about. And I'm not a colorist and I'm not the most perfect color grading person. But there's so many advantages in trying to color grade and trying to learn how to color grade that you can get a lot more client work with just color grading videos. Again, I'm not telling you to be a colorist, but it will make you a better videographer to learn the basics on how to color grade footage. A perfect example on why it's kind of important to shoot in S-Log or C-Log or B-Raw or RAW or whatever log you have. There was a time where I was on set and I was shooting a music video and I actually wanted the artist to rap in a bathroom into a mirror. Now, the vision that I already had in my head before I even hit record was I wanted the colors in that scenario to be green. Now, I had the artist in the bathroom, I had all the lights set up, I had a dirty mirror in front of him, and I wanted him to rap to it. But for the colors that I was envisioning, I wasn't envisioning red or blue or teal or magenta. I wanted like a greenish, goldish color. Now, if I wasn't shooting in log, I would not have been able to critique the vision that I had in my head to the exact T. And the reason why is because if I would have shot in the Sony colors that come straight out the camera, it would have been a lot more difficult, and honestly, the end result probably wouldn't have turned out how I envisioned it would in my head. But since I did shoot in log, the colors actually came out exactly how I wanted them to because I shot in log. So I was given full control of my creative workflow. Now, getting into color grading and shooting in log is pretty scary if it's something that you've never done before, especially when you open up programs like DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro, where it is like completely overwhelming with all the options you can do when color grading. But trust me, it's not as scary as it is, and it's not as hard as it is either. It is something that I honestly believe if you take the time to learn, you will become a great cinematographer in all your films. Now, moving on to tip number 2, it would be to throw away your zoom lens. Now, hold on, wait. I don't literally mean throw away your zoom lens. If you already bought them, you shouldn't have, but it's okay. I'm just playing. Zoom lenses are a great lens. Now, the reason why I say that is because I believe that if you put on primes, you could ultimately help yourself as a creative get better. I was once told in my beginner videography stages that if you own a zoom lens, those are a lazy man lens. Now, I don't always agree with that 24/7 because there is times where you need a zoom lens, and zoom lenses are practical, especially in situations where you're on a shoot and you don't really know the area, you don't know what you're getting into, and you don't really know what you're shooting. Times like that, it would be good to have a zoom lens because now you have a 24-70, so you have 25 or 24, 35, 50. You have all those focal lengths to choose from in a situation that you may not know what you need. But the reason why I think primes will make you a better cinematographer is for the simple fact that it causes you to get more creative. It causes you to use one focal length, and now with that one focal length, you gotta move around. You were given 2 legs by God to move around, so use those 2 legs to move around and get creative. Also, to mention, when shooting with primes, you do get a lower f-stop, so you will have more sun coming into your sensor and you'll get a more blurred out background. Who doesn't love a cinematic blurred out background? Even if you want to get into shooting with cinema lens are also a great option to become a better cinematographer. For cinema lens are a full-on manual focus lens. So you can kiss Sony's autofocus goodbye. So with cinema lens, you're really gonna be able to test the limits of your ability. You're gonna have to pull focus manually, which that honestly could be a benefit if you're trying to learn. Now, if you're a one-man team and you don't have a whole crew with you, shooting with a cinema lens might not be the best option for you. For again, you do have to manually pull focus yourself. And I find it, for me, if you're gonna pull focus yourself, I think you should have a focus pulling ring. Now, when I was using the Siri anamorphic lens and I had to pull focus manually, I did find it pretty difficult, for I was pulling focus manually, and I was also monitoring the audio. I was making sure my subject was in frame, all this other stuff that I was monitoring, as well as trying to pull focus. So for one person, that can get kind of overwhelming, but if you're on a team and you have a focus puller, then it is a good choice to have. Because on set, you don't always want to rely on autofocus, because sometimes there's going to be a subject that you don't want it to focus on, but with Sony's amazing autofocus, it's just going to catch it every single time. So that can get kind of annoying. So manually pulling focus would be a better option in situations like that, like short films, documentaries, anything along those lines. But for run and gun, it's not always the best option if you're solo, because you don't want to always be pulling focus, especially if you've never done it before and you're working with a big budget client or any client in general, and half their image is just completely blurred out because it's their first time using it. I don't suggest you do that, because you'll probably never get a call again from them. But I suggest that you should get a prime, invest in primes, get creative with it, use the two legs that you have. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations and just film, create something. Out of all these tips, just creating something is the most important part. But that's not a tip, so let's get into tip number 3. Now, tip number 3, which is probably the most obvious one, is to network. Get out there and meet new filmmakers. Meet filmmakers who are better than you. Meet filmmakers who've been doing this 15 plus years. Learn from them. Join a Facebook group if you have to. DM somebody on Instagram. Go out for a coffee meeting with somebody. It doesn't matter. Just get out there and network. There is so much power in referral in what we do as filmmakers. Now, when I say meet somebody, I generally mean meet them. Don't just go in there and try to offer them something off rip, or don't try to get something out of them off rip. Generally get to know that person, ask about them, build a relationship with them first as friends rather than just co-workers, if it's possible. Not everybody can build a friendly relationship. Some people you can just strictly keep business with, but for the most part, try to become their friend first. Me, whenever I meet somebody new, I generally try to get to know them first before I ask them to come help me on a shoot, before I ask them for a favor. I don't like doing that. I like to know them first. Now, that's a big tip that I suggest, and it's something that I really think you should put into practice, because a lot of us like to just do our own thing, be our own single run and gun person. Honestly, if you plan on doing this full time and make a full-on production company with this, you can't do it all yourself. As I'm growing as a cinematographer, I learned that I need help. I need a partner. I need a behind the scenes shooter. I need someone who can just help me, someone who can bounce ideas with me. I can't do all this alone. So break out of that mindset thinking that you can do everything alone, that you don't need nobody. No, it's okay to get help. It's okay to have a team. I want a team. I'm trying to build a team. You should build a team if you want to increase your skills. If you want to do this for a long time, you gotta have a team. If you wanna do it fast and quick, do it yourself. Now, when you network, don't only look for fellow filmmakers, but look for someone who's been doing this longer than you. Look for someone who has more knowledge than you. There's plenty of times where I hopped on shoot and someone asked me to mic up this person or set up this light stand, and I was like, I have no idea how to do this. It's okay to not know what you're doing. Now, I know you watching this, you might have had a bad experience one time on a wedding shoot with like a photographer or a fellow videographer, and they were just so rude to you. You try walking up to them, asking them, hey, what can I do to stay out your way? What can we do to work together? And they're just like, stay out my way and we'll be good. Don't let that one person leave a bad taste in your mouth. Now, obviously, you're gonna encounter rude photographers, rude videographers, but there's nothing you can do about that. As long as you remain confident and remain nice and polite, honestly, let them be. There's someone else who's willing to teach you, willing to help you, willing to work with you, willing to collab with you. And that's what matters most. Don't get in a bad mindset because of a bad experience that you had with a videographer. Now, with all that being said, if you found any type of value in this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm a videographer based down here in Florida. If there's any videographers watching who live in Florida who are watching my YouTube video, leave in the comment section below. Maybe we can meet up, do something, doesn't matter. Without further ado, get out there and get creative. Put these steps into practice. Go create something. I want to see your short film. I want to see your documentary. I want to see your music video. Go create. A bientôt, buongiorno.